Too long have I had my dwelling among those who hate peace. I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. That's Psalm 120, verses 6 and 7 in the Bible. And came to mind today now that we're at war again. How many countries are we at war with now? Syria, Iran, Venezuela, who knows where else? Ollie's ready to go to war with me. I have my combat hat on here for special forces, so we're ready to go. I couldn't find my uniform, but I can't fit it in it anyway. If I keep losing weight, maybe in a couple months. But we're invading Venezuela, although it looks like we don't have any troops there right now. They just grabbed Maduro, and we'll see what happens with that. I have something here. Let me read this one more time, then I'll close the Bible. Too long have I had my dwelling among those who hate peace. I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. I supported Trump almost 11 years now ago, or 10 years ago. I started 10 years ago. I supported Rand Paul originally, but then he dropped out for whatever reason because he lost to Trump in the primaries. But then about this time of year when Rand dropped out in 2016, then I supported Trump because he was against war. That's why I've supported him all along until now, or until last summer when he started becoming a warmonger. But here we have, this is interesting from, it was one of the debates in 2016 with, it concerns him and Jeb Bush from the Bush family had started all the wars. Here we go.
On Monday, George W. Bush will campaign in South Carolina for his brother. As you said tonight, and you've often said, the Iraq War and your opposition to it was a sign of your good judgment. In 2008, in an interview with Wolf Blitzer talking about President George W. Bush's conduct of the war, you said you were surprised the Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi didn't try to impeach him. You said, quote, which personally I think would have been a wonderful thing, close quote. When you were asked what you meant by that, you said, for the war. For the war. He lied. He got us into the war with lies. Do you still believe President Bush should be impeached? Should have been
impeached?
First
of all, I have to say, as a businessman, I get along with everybody. I have business all over the world. I know so many of the people in the audience. And by the way, I'm a self-funder. I have my wife and I have my son. That's all I have. I don't have this. So let me just tell you, I get along with everybody, which is my obligation to my company, to myself, etc. Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake. All right? Now, you can take it any way you want. And it took Jeb Bush, if you remember at the beginning of his announcement, when he announced for president, it took him 5 days. He went back. It was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. It took him 5 days before his people told him what to say. And he ultimately said it was a mistake. The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
But so you still think he should be
I think
impeached?
it's my turn, isn't it? You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
All right. When a member on the stage's brother gets attacked,
I got
brother
about
gets
5
to
or 6.
respond.
I get to do it 5 or 6 times, or just
I'm being
once
nice.
responding to that. So here's the deal. I'm sick and tired of Barack Obama blaming my brother for all of the problems that he's had. And frankly, I could care less about the insults that Donald Trump gives to me. It's blood sport for him. He enjoys it, and I'm glad he's happy about it. But I am sick and tired of him going after my family. My dad is the greatest man alive in my mind. While Donald Trump was building a reality TV show, my brother was building a security apparatus to keep us safe, and I'm proud of what he did. And he's had the gall to go
after the World Trade Center came down.
He's had the gall to go after my mother. Hold on, let me finish. He's had the gall to go after my mother.
That's not keeping
Look, I
us
won
safe.
the lottery when I was born in '63.
Well, how things have not changed in 10 years. Because this whole Venezuela thing is on false pretenses too. Supposedly the fentanyl thing coming from there when it comes from other places, from Mexico and China. What's he going to do? Bomb China next? Is he going to send the the Delta Force or the Green Berets or the SEAL Team 6 over to Beijing and grab President Xi? Is that what he's going to do? He's been Trump has been talking about maybe doing another regime change in Mexico. But the whole thing about the fentanyl is it's really a domestic problem. If you've known people who have had that problem, and I have, it's not going to be changed by kidnapping this guy Maduro. It's a domestic, it's a moral problem. We've had it before. It's kind of like alcoholism. We had those problems in America 120 years ago. And what did they do? They banned alcohol. That didn't work. That's how we got the mafia. The mafia was a bunch of local mob kind of guys until prohibition. Then it went national because you could make all kinds of money getting alcohol from Canada and from other places or making it moonshine. Let me put Ollie inside for a minute. So, and you saw that happen. If we do the same thing here, it's going to corrupt the military by getting it involved in these situations down there. If he invades Colombia, that's where a lot of the drugs come from. And what about the CIA, which was involved in a lot of it, starting a lot of this stuff? There was a guy named Gary Webb, a great journalist, who detailed this, and he ended up killing himself. Unfortunately, he should never do that. But he was denounced at the time by the L.A. Times, the Washington Post, and other papers. But later, he's proved totally true to be true. You can look it up online. Just go to Wikipedia, Gary Webb, because he showed how the CIA had these cocaine deals where they flooded Los Angeles and other cities with crack cocaine. Is that happening again? And let's let's talk now about someone who's a real hero. Maybe if Trump had ever joined the military, he might understand some of these things. But he got deferments because he didn't think Vietnam was a good war. It was a bad war, and like he said, Iraq was a bad war, and Venezuela was a bad war. However, it turns out. This was Smedley Butler. He was a general in the Marine Corps, Semper Fi. My sister was in the Marines, and she married my brother-in-law, Kurt, who was in the Marines too. They met in the Marines almost 50 years ago. Had a couple kids. They're gone now. God bless them. So the Marines are in my family. This is Smedley Butler, and he was involved in all the invasions of various Latin American countries 100 120 years ago. And then later on, he wrote a book called War is a Racket because of what he saw. It's just a racket. Here's a couple quotes from him, Smedley Butler. To those who say that the United States is only interested in oil, I ask those people, oh no, this is not him. This is another quote. I'm sorry. Let me get to Smedley Butler. Back up. War is a racket. It always has been. A few profit and the many pay. But there is a way to stop it. You can end it by disarmament. You can't end it by disarmament conferences. You can't eliminate it by peace parleys in Geneva. Well-meaning but impractical groups can't wipe it out by resolutions. It can be smashed effectively only by taking the profit out of war. Another quote, consider this is Latin America where he was involved. I helped purify Nicaragua for the International Banking House of Brown Brothers in 1909 and 1912. I brought light to the Dominican Republic for American sugar interests in 1916. In China, I helped to see that Standard Oil went its way unmolested. The normal profits of a business concern in the United States are 6, 8, 10, and sometimes 12%. Still true today. But wartime profits, that is another matter. 20, 60, 100, 300, and even 800%. The sky's the limit. That's true today too. All these companies making money off profits. Like Country Joe said, there's plenty good money to be made supplying the army with the tools of the trade. Smedley Butler, again, he was not a hippie folk singer. Smedley Butler. I served in all commissioned ranks from a second lieutenant to a major general. And during that time, I spent most of my time being a high-class muscle man for big business, for Wall Street, and for the bankers. In short, I was a racketeer for capitalism. Of course, free markets are good, and socialism doesn't work either. But this is what's happening. I had another quote here. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, this is the one I almost got there. This is from a fellow in
No sé dónde irá a salir, pero le pido a todos que
a guy on the street in Caracas. He was quoted.
y le
I'll
pido a todos
translate
que
him.
tengan fe. No sé dónde irá a salir, pero le pido a todos que tengan fe, que no se dejen llenar la cabeza de que los gringos solo quieren el petróleo y los gringos solo quieren su riqueza. O sea, y a esas personas les pregunto, ¿qué creen ellos que querían los rusos y los chinos durante tanto tiempo? ¿La receta de la arepa? Imposible.
Well, everybody, Cardinal Timothy Dolan here. Bear with me. I'm going to.
Okay, here's the translation. To those who say that the United States is only interested in oil, I ask those people, what do you think the Russians and the Chinese wanted? The recipe for arepas? That's what it's really about. It's just for money. That's what they're doing it for. It's just for the oil and for Trump because he wants to be emperor of the world. Who knows what else he's going to attack next? And uh, as I mentioned, I supported him all along because he was anti-war. At least we thought he was. But for whatever reason, he isn't. And oh, you'll notice in that clip I showed of Trump, he was a lot sharper than he is now. 10 years took a toll on him. He's 79, almost 80. Lots happened. All the campaigns, got shot. But I think a big thing that happened to him when he really changed was last June when the whole Epstein thing blew up. Remember in the campaign a couple of years ago, 2 years ago now, he kept saying he wants to release the Epstein files, and he brings in Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, and they all say we're going to release the Epstein files, and then they didn't. And then Trump says, "Oh, it's all the Democrats. They're just attacking me." Although if that was the case, why didn't they release the Epstein files when Biden was there? Well, we know it's all just total corruption. It has shown us somewhat how things really work in the government. It's all this money. And the New York Times yesterday I haven't read this yet, but it's a cover story. It's a long one about all the money part of Epstein files. Here we go. Schemes, scams, ruthless cons, the untold story of how Jeffrey Epstein got rich. I'm going to read this later. Looks pretty good. By the way, I'm behind the news with John Seiler. Make sure to like and subscribe and go to my Substack, johnseiler.substack.com, where I have all kinds of comments and you can contribute to me if you'd like to. Just join the Substack, $5 a month, and get a lot of good stuff. I have some good stuff there today. So this, I think it kind of cracked Trump's mind, this whole Epstein thing, because I mean, as we're finding out, he's in there a lot. He wasn't involved with the 14-year-old girls. It's a horrible thing, but he knew Epstein really well for a while, and then they had a falling out for some reason. But early on, he was tight with Epstein, and this has come out about about him, and I think at some point he gets it, because this isn't just some rich guys with some hookers. Everybody knows that happens all the time. It's terrible, but if they're 18 or over, well, what can you do? That's life. But 14-year-old girls, come on, we we know that's horrible, and whoever did it should go to jail for the rest of his life. Uh, so then let's get back to Venezuela. Trump says he said in his press conference, he said he's going to run Venezuela. Said that a couple of times, but then we had Marco Rubio, who says we're not going to run Venezuela. So what does that mean? The problem is what happens if the government there, the vice president, who's now the acting president, named Ramirez, what if she doesn't knuckle under? What if she resists? And the army apparently is intact. We don't know. We don't know anything really. Uh, they grabbed Maduro and then left, and none of our people were killed. But what if they go back because Ramirez is not cooperating? What if our troops go back in there and start getting killed? What if it's a total quagmire, like Trump said, like the Iraq War was? and he said that we were on false pretenses getting into that war, the weapons of mass destruction. But what about this war, the whole narco-terrorism nonsense, and all of it? It's just to grab the oil is the main reason, and for Trump to assert his control. The best thing to do, as I've written about, would be to just get rid of the sanctions and do the same thing with Cuba. Just get rid of the sanctions and bring them back into the fold. After a while, they'll come around. I mean, socialism is a really stupid idea, even though now that guy Mamdani in New York, he's going to try to impose it there. Trump wants to invade somebody. How about New York City? Or how about California? This place is socialist out here. Beautiful weather today. I love it. It's 62 degrees, a little chilly, but I like it. I'm from Michigan, and we love it here. But the state is just so badly run. Everything is badly run. Newsom's going to have his budget in a couple of days, probably $18 billion deficit again. The guy's just a fool. He's a socialist fool. He's rich himself personally, but he's governed like a socialist. So how about sending the troops out here, Mr. President? I'll join them. I got my combat hat on here. A couple months, I'll be thin enough. I can get my army uniform out back from 42 years ago. No, 44 years ago. Anyway, so that's what I have for you today, and this is just a terrible thing. It's a reversal of all Trump's promises to keep us out of wars. And Ollie wants to come back out. Come here, Ollie. Come here, Ollie. Come here. Come on. Come on. Yeah, come here. Ollie wants to say goodbye, and I'll get out a treat for him. This is I have a affiliate with Ollie. It's in the description. So remember to like and subscribe, and to check out my Substack, johnseiler.substack.com. And we have this for Ollie. He goes crazy for these things. Here we go, Ollie. There we go. There we go. He's been a good boy lately. He just doesn't like me talking to you. He's jealous. Okay, everybody. Let's hope the war doesn't get worse. That it's over with, and there's some kind of arrangement so things are better for the Venezuela people and things are better for us, and we don't get into some quagmire again. I hope that's what happens, but we'll see. So Happy New Year, and I hope everything's okay with you. Bye. Oh, one more thing. I heard Scott Adams is considering becoming a Christian, so pray for him. He's the cartoonist, and he has prostate cancer, terminal case. He could be gone any day, so pray for him. Really good guy, the Dilbert guy. Bye.